Hello. Today we're going to make an Asian-inspired crispy chicken dish that starts with 2 tablespoons of chicken. This can be either tenders, which is what I have. I've cut them into 1-inch pieces, or it can be chicken thighs that are boneless and skinless. You just want to make sure that you cut them all up into even pieces. So I've cut those into about 1-inch pieces. We're going to marinate all of that with 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. In my case, I'm using tamari soy sauce, but you can also use coconut aminos as well. 3 tablespoons of sugar. We're going to have our 5 spice. We're going to do about 2 teaspoons of Chinese 5 spice. You can find that in the spice aisle with no problem. This is white pepper, which is a little hotter than black pepper. It's got a little more heat to it. We're going to use 1.5 teaspoons of white pepper in our marinade. We're going to use 2 teaspoons of salt in the marinade, and we're going to marinate that for a minimum of an hour, and it could be as much as overnight. And then when we bread our chicken, we're going to use about, I'd say about a cup of the tapioca flour. We're going to season that flour with a little bit of black pepper and salt, probably about 2 teaspoons of salt and 1 teaspoon or maybe a tablespoon, depends on how fiery you want it, of black pepper, freshly ground in my case. And we're also going to add a little bit of water. You'll see the technique when we put that all together. We're going to serve the whole thing over Jasmine rice. So we're going to make some rice for this. And then I'm going to put a honey glaze on this. So I'm going to make this glaze separately and just kind of pour it over everything once we're ready to go. I'm going to use honey. This happens to be very dark honey from our bees. I'm going to use about 1/2 cup of honey. I don't have it out right now, but I'll have about 2 tablespoons of water or chicken broth, depending on what I have at the ready at that time. We're going to use, again, our soy sauce for that. We're going to use 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. We're going to use 2 teaspoons of freshly ground ginger, 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. That's going to help thicken it up and, again, give it a little bit of spice. We're going to use some chili paste. And we're also going to add some fresh garlic to that. So let's get started on our marinade. Okay, so our marinade is very straightforward. We're going to need 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. So we'll get this open. And if you do a little bit more, it's not a big deal. You want to just have close to the right amount. But I'm going to measure it out. So there we go. 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. Now remember, we're going to use our soy sauce later, so I'm going to keep this on my cutting board for now. I need 3 tablespoons of sugar. So I'm just going to get it right out of here. I'm using a dry measure, and it's nearly 1/4 cup, as you can see. So keep that measure in case we need it for something else. And we need 2 teaspoons of the Chinese 5 spice powder. But before I do that, I'm just going to give the sugar a chance to begin to dissolve in the soy. All right, so now we're going to add more flavor here with the Chinese 5 spice. So I'm going to put 2 teaspoons. I'm going to take this little lid off. It's so aromatic. I love this stuff. Put this in. There's 1. And a little bit more. You saw a little bit fell out there, but it's all good. So we've got that. And we're going to go ahead, stir this up. And I just don't want to dirty something else since I already have this. You can use a whisk if you'd like. But it just takes me another moment to do it this way. It's not a big deal. or you could use a fork. Growing up, that's what, I never had a whisk. We just used forks when we needed to blend things together. It worked quite well. All right, so this is going to be a little pasty-like. Okay, and then we need to add in our white pepper. So I'm just going to grind it right in here. And we're going to get about, it depends on how hot you want this. I'm not a big fan of super spicy food, but the more you can put on now, you're adding a lot of flavor for that chicken. This is the majority of the seasoning that's going to get. So there we go. There is our white pepper, and then we're going to add some salt. We're going to put about 2 teaspoons of salt. Remember, we've got 2 pounds. You can put less if you want. Remember, there's soy in there. And frankly, at 2 teaspoons, I think I'm just going to go with like 1.5 at this point. So that's it. That's our marinade. So we're going to just stir this up. Make sure everything's combined. Now you can put this into a plastic bag if you want, so you'll get super full contact, but I already have my chicken here. I'm just going to pour it on. Make sure we get all of that out there. Toss it to combine, and then put it in the fridge for a minimum of 1 hour, and you can keep it in there overnight if you'd like. So there's our marinade. All right, so I like to get the sauce ready basically ahead of time, just so that it's in my pot and ready to go. So I've got half a cup of honey that I've put in here. I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of water. Just put that off to the side. We're going to put in 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. So this also adds a saltiness to counteract the sweetness. Okay. So I used tamari. You can use soy sauce or coconut aminos if you recall. So either one is fine. You just want that flavor to come through. We're also going to put in about 2 teaspoons of freshly grated ginger. So we're just going to pop that in here. You could put more if you like. This is going to give it a zing for sure. Get all of that out there. All right, and then we're going to put in 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. This is going to be a bit of a thickener, if you will. So 2 teaspoons, we're going to level that off. All right. 1, 2. See, I didn't get too crazy about it being super level, but the point is, you're going to put it in here, you're going to whisk all of this up, you're going to heat it up, it'll be a beautiful thing. Okay, we're going to put in some chili paste, about a teaspoon. You could put more, you can completely not put any, or you can put less. It's really up to you how much you want to put in there. But again, this is to counteract a bit of the sweetness, so it's not just cloyingly sweet with the honey. We're balancing it out with some of these spicy flavors. And then last but not least, we're going to put in our garlic. And then when the time comes, we're going to go ahead and heat this up, but I'm not going to do that until after I've fried all of my chicken and my rice is ready to go. I'm going to have this going in the background, but right now I'm just getting it set up. Okay, so we'll give that a little bit of a stir. See, everything is going to come together. And when it comes time to cook all of this, you'll see it'll be really liquidy. And then as it cools, it'll be sticky and sweet and spicy. It'll be perfect topping. Now, if you find after you finish cooking this that you kind of want to change the flavor, you can drizzle a little bit of the chili paste, or if you want it sweeter, a little bit of honey on top of everything. But this is your basic sauce, okay? You can see some of those chili pepper flakes in there. So this is going to be really delicious. Let's go ahead and make that chicken, shall we? Okay, so we have our marinated chicken ready to go. I've tossed it a couple of times while it was marinating, so all of that can get distributed evenly. We're going to put in a cup of tapioca flour. This is going to be our batter, and we're going to add a little bit of water, about 2 tablespoons of water. We're going to mix this up, and that's our batter. The liquid is going to help make like these little pearls and such. It'll get stuck onto our chicken. And in the meantime, we have our thermometer in our oil, and that's heating up. So, while this may not look very appetizing at the moment, we're going to work in batches. We're going to put this to fry for about 5 to 7 minutes or so for each batch. So I've also set it up so that I can not just fry, but then I can lay it out here on my... Okay, so we have our oil at 350 degrees. I'm going to start adding pieces in for our first batch. So we're going to cook for about 5 to 7 minutes. They're going to come out super crispy. And then we're going to put them in the oven. The oven is just set to keep things warm, not to cook them. We don't want to overcrowd this. There we go. This is also why we cut the pieces as small as we did. We don't want them cooking forever. We don't want it drying out. And now we're ready to go. All right, we have got everybody cooked, some a little more than others. You see how nice and brown everything is? Super crispy. Just going to put that off to the side. And we're going to start our next batch. Okay, everything's ready, so we're going to go ahead and plate up. I've put about 1.5 cups of my jasmine rice that I have cooked in the Instant Pot. Nice and easy there. I'm going to put a couple of pieces of chicken in here. Well, more than a couple. Put as much as you'd like. I put about, I don't know, about 10 pieces or so at this size per person, just so that there's enough. And then top that off with a little bit of the honey ginger sauce. You can put as much of the sauce as you'd like. You could serve it on the side if you don't want to have it right on there. And then we'll chop some green onions to give it some color. And there you have it. We have our tapioca chicken. It's been deep fried and served with sticky rice with a honey and chili paste glaze. Hope you enjoy.